On August 20th, 636, a pivotal moment unfolded in history as Arab forces, led by the formidable Khalid ibn al-Walid, confronted the Byzantine Empire at the Battle of Yarmouk. This battle marked the swift expansion of Islam beyond the Arabian Peninsula into the sprawling Levant region. As the sun rose over the battlefield, Khalid ibn al-Walid rallied his troops, emphasizing unity and faith. He spoke of the glory that awaited them should they prevail against the Byzantine Empire, infusing his soldiers with a sense of purpose and determination. Meanwhile, the Byzantine general, observing the preparation of the Arab warriors, strategized a counterattack. He believed in the strength of his well-equipped troops and the strategy that had brought the Byzantine Empire so much success in past confrontations. As both sides prepared for the impending clash, word spread amongst the troops about the religious significance of the battle. The Arab forces viewed it not just as a military campaign, but a holy endeavor to spread Islam to new lands. The Byzantine forces, meanwhile, were battle-hardened and resolute, accustomed to dealing with fierce opponents throughout their history. They fortified their positions, relying on their experienced formations to withstand the Arabs' charge. Khalid recognized the need for swift tactics against the larger Byzantine force. He formulated a plan that emphasized mobility and surprise, deploying cavalry to outmaneuver their opponents on the battlefield. As the battle commenced, both sides charged towards each other with a ferocity that shook the earth. The clash of steel and cries of warriors filled the air, marking the beginning of an epic confrontation. Khalid's tactics paid off as the cavalry outflanked a segment of the Byzantine lines, creating a ripple of confusion among the enemy soldiers. The battle began to shift in favor of the Arabs. Realizing the tide was turning, the Byzantine general quickly adapted his strategy, attempting to rally his men and regroup the forces to counter Khalid's advances. The Arab forces, emboldened by the initial successes, pushed forward with renewed vigor. Khalid encouraged his men, reminding them of their purpose and the glory awaiting them in victory. Despite his best efforts, the Byzantine general found it increasingly challenging to maintain control of his troops as the tide of battle continued to shift against them. His concern grew as he watched the Arab forces advance relentlessly. As the clash continued, the battlefield bore witness to acts of valor on both sides. Individual warriors emerged, capturing the essence of their respective armies' tenacity and spirit. Amidst the chaos, Khalid noticed a vulnerable flank in the Byzantine line. Seizing the opportunity, he ordered a concentrated attack, directing his forces to exploit the weakness. Recognizing that preservation of their forces was paramount, the Byzantine general made a desperate call for reinforcements to bolster the beleaguered lines, but time was against him. The fierce fighting reached a pivotal moment as Khalid's forces pressed their advantage, driving deep into the heart of the Byzantine formation. As the battle intensified, reports of heavy casualties on both sides began to trickle in, marking the toll that such a fierce conflict was exacting. Despite the casualties, Khalid's determination only grew stronger. He recognized the significance of this moment, understanding its potential to reshape the course of history in the region. The Byzantine general, increasingly aware of the imminent defeat, formulated a final stand strategy, hoping for a miraculous turnaround against overwhelming odds. Khalid, sensing the weakening morale among the Byzantines, launched a concentrated offensive aimed at breaking their final defenses once and for all. As the Arab forces clashed against the last remnants of the Byzantine line, a sense of inevitable victory began to permeate the camp of Khalid's troops. In a final dramatic encounter, the remaining Byzantine soldiers fought valiantly, but ultimately faced overwhelming odds and began to falter. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the sounds of battle slowly subsided. Khalid surveyed the battlefield, realizing that a significant chapter in history had just been written. As dawn broke over the battlefield, the atmosphere was charged with tension. The battleground was a vast expanse, dotted with soldiers ready for the clash, the sun casting long shadows over a land brimming with history and ambition. Khalid ibn al-Walid, mounting his horse, rallied his men with an inspiring speech about faith and glory, reminding them of their purpose in the struggle against oppression. The Byzantine general, stationed atop a vantage point, surveyed the landscape, analyzing Arab troop formations while contemplating his strategies for an impending engagement. With a signal from Khalid, the Arab forces surged forward, their battle cry resonating, embodying both power and conviction as they faced their adversaries. As the armies clashed, the sound of metal on metal rang through the air, and the dust rose high, obscuring vision, while courage and chaos intertwined. Khalid, recognizing a critical weakness in the Byzantine line, ordered a daring flank maneuver, surprising his adversaries with unexpected swiftness. The Byzantines, caught off guard, struggled to reorganize, their formations beginning to unravel under the pressure applied by the relentless Arab forces. Amidst the torrent of battle, stories of heroism emerged. Individual soldiers on both sides fought fiercely, embodying the spirit of their respective nations. With the sun at its peak, Khalid seized the moment, pushing forward, using the momentum of the battle to inspire his soldiers. Frustration grew within the Byzantine ranks as their general tried to regain control, but the ferocity of the Arab onslaught continued to disrupt their formations. As the battle wore on, both sides experienced significant losses and signs of fatigue set in. Yet, each soldier fought with a fierce determination. Khalid, sensing the Byzantine morale waning, devised a plan for a coordinated final offensive to capitalize on their weakening resolve. With a booming voice, Khalid gave the command, launching a powerful and unified attack designed to overwhelm the remaining Byzantine defenders. The final engagement saw brutal close-quarters combat, with both sides wrenching for control and fighting fiercely to the last. As the Arab forces gained ground, the Byzantine soldiers began to falter. Panic spread among them, resulting in a disorganized retreat from the battlefield. With cannons of the soul echoing through the hills, Khalid's forces pressed forward, completely overpowering the remaining Byzantine troops in a decisive victory. As dusk settled over the battlefield, the echoes of the struggle faded. Yet the victory over the Byzantine Empire reverberated across the Levant, heralding the expansion of Islam. Khalid ibn al-Walid, wary but resolute, reflected on the significance of the battle, knowing it would reshape political landscapes and influence future generations. News of the Arab victory spread quickly, igniting excitement and aspiration among nearby tribes and regions, stirring interest in the ideals of Islam. Khalid ibn al-Walid addressed his troops at dawn, igniting passion and courage among his warriors as they prepared for the impending battle against the Byzantine Empire. The Byzantine general surveyed his troops, giving a rousing speech to reinforce their resolve, despite the tension and uncertainty of the coming confrontation. As the two armies clashed, the sound of swords ringing and the cries of men filled the air, marking the beginning of fierce combat at the Battle of Yarmouk. Khalid quickly assessed the battlefield and ordered a cavalry charge, aiming to exploit a gap in the Byzantine defenses, demonstrating his tactical genius. Despite their fierce fighting, many Byzantine soldiers began to falter as the coordinated Arab maneuvers overwhelmed them, creating confusion. As the battle raged on, Khalid deployed more troops to flank the Byzantines, further disrupting their formations and morale. Amidst the fighting, individual acts of bravery emerged, with soldiers on both sides displaying extraordinary valor, heightening the stakes of the battle. Khalid, witnessing the fatigue in his enemies, crafted an audacious plan to rally his troops for a decisive strike, evoking the spirit of resilience. The time for a decisive assault arrived, as Khalid signaled for a final charge that would test the resolve of both forces and determine the outcome of the battle. As the Arab forces poured forward, the Byzantine general struggled to reassemble his men, who were now on the brink of despair. The final battle lines were drawn, and the new offensive became a brutal, frantic fight, with neither side willing to yield. Gradually, the determination of the Arab forces overshadowed the weariness of the Byzantine troops. Morale crumbled. With the tide turning, Khalid directed a final wave of his forces to push ahead, leaving no room for retreating Byzantines. As the sun set, the battlefield bore witness to a staggering number of casualties on both sides, the air heavy with the weight of loss. In the end, Khalid's forces emerged victorious, the remnants of the Byzantine army in full retreat, signaling a monumental shift in power in the region. Khalid gathered his generals and reflected on the lessons learned from the battle. Unity, strategy, and courage were pivotal to their success. The victory at Yarmouk served as a rallying point for surrounding tribes, and many began to embrace Islam, witnessing the unity and capabilities of Khalid's forces. The impact of the battle transformed the political landscape, diminishing Byzantine influence and laying the groundwork for future Muslim conquests in the region. Khalid ibn al-Walid's strategic brilliance became legendary, earning him respect within the Islamic world and among his adversaries. As news of the victory spread, Khalid's name would be echoed in the annals of history, symbolizing the spirit of Islamic expansion and resilience against oppression. The Battle of Yarmouk not only marked a military triumph, but also initiated a period of cultural exchange and integration in the Levant, shaping the region's future. Khalid's victory at Yarmouk was a defining moment that shaped the identity of the Islamic State and set the stage for the eventual expansion into other territories. The fall of Byzantine authority in the Levant reshaped the region's demographics, influencing cultural and religious landscapes for centuries to come. History would remember the Battle of Yarmouk as more than just a military success, but a turning point in the narrative of faith, governance, and identity for emerging Islamic empires.